Hello everybody, and this here is Public Eye. Today's topic is about corporal punishments in schools. Now, in several countries around the world, including Nigeria, corporal punishment is considered discipline for children. In fact, one of the most popular sayings in this culture is spare the rod and spoil the child. However, at what point does discipline become abuse? That is what we're going to be looking at today on the show. We're going to start with a story, a rather unfortunate story, of a situation where a child, a 2-year-old child, was tortured in school and what became of that. Recently on social media, there have been stories after stories after stories of all sorts of abuse in school perpetrated by people who should be in guardianship of children. As more and more parents go to work early, their children are sent to school earlier. So you have children as young as 6 months going to daycare, considered to be schools. And these children are also being disciplined. So on today's show, we're going to look at exactly what has happened. Because of course you do know this is Public Eye, and our desire is to see how we can make things better right after the break.
Let me see, I'm not going to peel. I'm going to push it.
Okay, so you wait, but you better not me they flog you or they say me you go tell your mommy they
flog you.
Why they go flog me?
That will be flog. The canning go tired. They go tired for flogging. They go flog, they go tired. And they say they stop, and they say I stop.
Odeshi, you know enter. I dust them. Not small thing. Enough it pain me. Are you familiar with these words? If you are, then you certainly attended or still attend a Nigerian school where corporal punishment is glorified. It is considered as the most effective tool to drill discipline into adolescents.
1 year and 7 months old boy Obinna Udeze was allegedly flogged to death by the school's proprietress and her son.
It is the reason some parents enroll their children and wards in certain schools. They are a disciplined school. It is the reason many young adults attribute proudly to having a bit of the rugged life in them. While this may be true for some people, the lines are blurry for others who have been subjected to torture and physical abuse.
Little Obinna was tortured by the school owner, and her son said they tied the hands and legs of her son with white handkerchief before flogging him 31 strokes that sent her son into coma.
Many stayed silent so as not to be perceived as weak. Some spoke up in their later years when they had been badly damaged mentally, emotionally, and psychologically. Enough it pain outside, but the pain is inside. If it be a small thing on the skin, but it is a huge damage to the psyche. Many are still living with the trauma of what they were told was corporal punishment, but now they know it was torture and abuse. Corporal punishment is only the gateway, but it can lead to physical, emotional, and sexual abuse in the long run. Let's call a spade a spade. Abuse is abuse, and it must stop in our schools.
Right, welcome back. It's Public Eye, and today we are looking at punishments, specifically punishments for minors, children, and what exactly is punishment, what is discipline, and what does the word corporal means. It has a very, very colonial, as well as military, as well as, dictatorial sound about it. My first guest on today's show is Faustina Ohamadike, and Faustina is the mother of little Cherish. You may have seen the story in the news when it broke, when a little 2-year-old girl was flogged and had marks on her back by the teacher in her school. It generated a lot of outrage, after which the school itself was shut down. However, before then and after then, there have been many cases, some too terrible to talk about even on television. So I'm very glad that today's guest agreed to come on our show. Hello, Faustina.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm fine.
When I saw you, I smiled, because you're a young mother. You look like a very young mother. Do you mind if I ask you how old you are?
No problem.
How old are you?
I'm 30.
30.
Yeah.
You look like you are 22. And this happened when she was 2?
Yes.
2 and how many months?
She was 2 and 3 months.
2 and 3 months. So now she's 2 and how many months?
2 and 5.
2 and 5 months.
Yes,
just 2 months ago. How is she doing now?
I thank God. But it's just that if she sees cane, she has this shock on her. So one way or the other, I don't know how to say it, but whenever she sees cane, she always feels this shock.
She just jumps now.
Maybe as if maybe she's scared of cane.
Yeah. Did you notice anything else that has she changed in any other way too that you have noticed?
It's only that for now.
Whenever
she sees cane,
yeah,
she has this shock on her.
She'll just jump. Do you live with her dad?
Yes.
So you are dad, and how many other people?
I have 4 kids.
You have 4 children?
Yes.
What are their ages?
The one of 8, the one of 6, 2, and 4 months old.
And the baby 4 months old.
Yes.
How did you find out?
This thing happened on 7th of February. Cherish, actually, she was not feeling fine. So she was admitted in the hospital for 1 week. And the school are aware that she has not been to school for 1 week. So they discharged her on 5th of February. That is Saturday. So on Monday, being 7th of February. So I told the dad that she has to go to school, that she has been missing school for like 1 week since she's okay. So the dad agreed that no problem. So that morning I was the one that took her to school with the siblings. So I dropped them and I went to my business. So when I came back, I saw my first daughter when I was coming up. So she came downstairs to hug me and say, "Mommy, welcome." So when I looked at the parlor, I saw my second child, that's the boy Emmanuel, my son. He also welcomed me. I was like, "Where is Cherish?" So the boy now said that she's sleeping, that she's inside, that her body is hot. I said, unlike this girl, I know her very well. She always awake by this time. Why is she sleeping? I now told my daughter to go and wake her up, that I bought ice cream. I want her to lick it. I followed my daughter inside the room. I saw her lying down in her daddy's room. So I waked her. Cherish, this was where I held her. And she did like this. I was like, why is this girl feeling this pain? So I touched the other side. She also did the same thing. I was like, So before I knew that, I was like, doesn't mean that the sickness is back again, or I don't understand. Why is this girl feeling? Why is her temperature high? So I carried her. And that pain, there's no way you carry a child that your hand will not touch the back. So when I carried her, before I carried her, I said, okay, let me on my touch. When I on my touch, there was bruises all over her back. I was like, what happened to this girl? I know there's no cane in this house. So who did this to her? So out of anger, I ran downstairs. I met my sister, my younger sister. I asked her that, Kelechi, what happened to Cherish? Who flogged her? She now said, Auntie, is the school that I don't know when they came back from school. I wanted to bathe them, so I saw those bruises all over her. And I said, okay, when you saw it, then what did you do? She said she went to meet the owner of the school. And the owner of the school now said, Kelechi, is Joy. You know how Joy used to flog now? Now Joy, I beg, now Joy, no, now. I was like, now Joy, just like that. It's okay, don't worry, let me go. Since we are living in the same estate, this is my house, and my block is different from her own. So when I was going, I heard the teacher's voice discussing with the owner of the school, the husband. They were talking normal discussion. So I have to follow the front. So when I got there, I knocked. I said, Mama, Mama, because they normally call her Mama. She kept quiet. So I called her the second time, Mama, Mama, please, I want to see you. Who did this to my daughter? So she now said, Mama, sorry, na Joy, you know Joy now, if invest, na so in the flog children. I said, I can't hear you. What did you say? If Joy vex, she
so
flog, now so she dey flog children. I don't understand.
So that means she has been, she don't dey
I said,
flog other
please,
children sef.
she used to flog that teacher. She can flog very well. And she has this lefty. I was like, Mama, please, I won't take that. Bring out Joy. I want to see her. Let her explain to me why she will flog this girl. And you people are aware that this girl is not feeling fine. Why did you people? I'm sorry. So I was like, bring her out. I want to ask her some questions. Why would she flog my daughter like this? What was her offense? So she was like, Mommy, ma, you know Joy now, Joy no day. I said, no, Joy is there. Bring her Joy. Let her come out. Let me ask her some questions. Maybe I've offended her.
I should beat my child.
For her to beat my child like this, that this girl is not feeling fine. Why will you allow her to flog her? Am I owing you school fees? I'm not owing you. 4 of my kids have paid their school fees, even the less everything. I'm not owing you. Even if you ask other parents, they'll tell them I'm one of the best parents. I'm not owing you anyway. So why will you flog my child like this? And I say, that because they asked her to read ABCD. You know, Cherish now, they will ask her and she'll be looking at the teacher, and that's why the teacher flogged her. I said, okay. A girl of 2-year-old that, you know, I wish I came with her. Maybe you ask her and see if she will respond. I say, you know that this girl hardly talks. Even me, I struggle to hear what she's saying because she's 2. Some kids are fast in talking. Why some? It takes them 3 to 4 years before you start hearing one. So if you ask her to say ABC and she did not recite it, is that why they will flog her like this? And according to my son said that they flogged her 24. That the teacher said that they are going to flog her 24. And they flogged her also. They
flogged a 2-year-old child.
24.
2 years, 3 months. 2 years, 2 months. 24 lashes.
Yes.
And other people there, they look.
And the owner of the school now said that, Mommy, ma, this one way they talk like this, with a quarrel, I be one close down my school. After all, it's not only your child that they flogged. The other children, they line them up and flog them. I say, please, if other parents will take it, me, Faustina Ohamadike, I will not take it. I will not take it. I will stand for my daughter. I'm here to protect her. You can't flog my child and allow me, and maybe if I come back and see my child being flogged by you or by your teacher, and you allow me to start clapping for it because we are neighbors. No, you don't want, no, who does that? Say, please, you have to bring the teacher. The teacher has to explain to me. I don't have any business with you. It's the teacher I want to see because I know her, she's living in this house. So bring her out. So out of anger, I left there. So when I was going to my own block, on my way going, I heard the husband telling the owner of the school, that the wife, please follow Mamima and know what is wrong with this child. For Mamima to come, that means that cane was much. Joy, why they beat children like this? I don't they warn you. They beat children like this. So that was all I heard. I don't know the remaining ones because out of anger I was leaving. It was not up to 10 minutes. The owner of the school, I heard my dog barking. So, and I said, maybe this woman has followed me. And my sister is still downstairs spreading clothes. So, my door somebody was knocking at my door. So my daughter wanted to go downstairs. I told her, no, don't go downstairs. Leave that door. I will open it by myself. So I was like sitting down, you know, now there's out of anger. I was like, I don't understand. What was my offense? So the door
Let me even ask you first. How did you feel when you opened her back and you saw it?
Honestly, it was not easy for me. I feel so bad.
Faustina, I'm sorry. I didn't want any crying because you see, me too, I'm a mother. And you see, this beating thing is a problem in our society. Because I know how you feel. And I know that if it's me, I will want to carry the person and tear them one by one. Tear the person to pieces. So I'm sorry. I do not mean to make you cry. You can take a break if you wanted to. Because okay. In the moment, I just want to understand what it's like for somebody to just see small pikin, even now old pikin, even now agbalagba self, even an old person, you see them beat the person 24 strokes of cane. You know, you will not be able to take it easy. Never mind a child, and never mind one that you birthed by yourself. Nobody wanted to do anything. They wanted to cover it up.
the owner of the school have begged me. Do you understand me? Which that beg is sorry now. No be just. I say, Mama, please, that Thursday, I'm coming. This girl have been treating her since, and I took her to Extreme where I know how much I spend there. So apart from that, I have business that I'm doing. Since then, this girl has been on treatment. They have been treating this girl, taking this girl one place or the other, buying drugs for her. And you never, she said, please, now you will want spend money. You dey show yourself, you get money. Now you will want spend money. You want go do Extreme. Whether in bone break. Which bone break? Waiting be the thing. She now turned my daughter. I said, please, don't touch her. What is there? Mommy, my waiting no be ordinary flog. I be get another thing where they fight for my body. Joy, no worry. No worry. She be patak. Okay, you want take and go today, Abi. Patak. She be na kri. No be kri where they here. Nobody always they trackable. Because kri is close to my place. No be J. Patak, you close my school. If I go there, if I come out, now old woman, I be see my white hair. If I come out, I start business.
What about the proprietor? The school was shut down.
Yes.
That's all.
Yes, for now.
For now. And all of you still live in the same compound.
Yes. So the owner of the school, I said, okay, no problem. Let's see how this case will go. Okay.
I'm going to take a break because if I don't take a break, I will vex too much. And the matter has even gone a little far. The one thing I want, because I want you to take a break to compose yourself, I want to bring other people so we can make this, because this is not even just a matter of your family. And let me say at this point, I'm happy you did not grieve for anybody. Because had it been that you agree, that would be another person that they just begged, the matter has ended. But because you did not agree, the matter entered everywhere. People are looking at the issue more than they were looking at it before. That's why myself now have tabled the matter here. Because this matter will not just end like that. Okay? So let's take a break. When we come back from the break, we will see the scale of this problem in our society and how everybody is involved. Let's take a break. Right, welcome back. It's Public Eye, and today we are talking about corporal punishment. I must say I do not like that word, corporal, but basically we are talking about severe punishment for children in schools. Joining us now is Honorable Sherifat Abiodun Adedoyin from the Lagos State. She's a board member of the Lagos State Basic Education Board. Honorable, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Also joining her is Mrs. Oladipo Folashade. Ms. Oladipo, she is a child protection officer here in Lagos State, and she's also a counselor. Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
I know that you've been listening and you know the case itself.
Yes.
However, we want to go to a level where we are looking at it beyond this particular story. So I'm going to start with you, Honorable, because you must know, maybe because of social media now, we hear a lot more than we used to hear before. I want to ask a cheeky question. Were you beaten in school too?
Yes. I was beaten in school. I attended public schools all my life. And then I can say categorically, if you attended public schools, it's not a new thing. Then, not now. We oversee public primary schools in Lagos State. And I want to tell you that we have 1,017 public primary schools in Lagos State. We at LASUBEB run the affairs of public schools in Lagos State. And I want to tell you that we frown so much at corporal punishment in any of our schools. As far as LASUBEB is concerned, if I say LASUBEB, that's State Universal Basic Education Board, which I am a board member in charge of co-curricular activities. This topic we are discussing comes directly on my table. And this story we are treating, we are all in the know of it when it happened. You can do your underground check, can do your investigation. We don't cane our pupils again. You cannot even see a cane around the school surroundings. If you see one, if you happen to see it, will just be on the table to just serve as a scare to the class. And even at that, we don't encourage it because they are not animals. And they are in school for them to learn. The teachers are there to impact knowledge, to correct, to instill discipline, but not in form of corporal punishment.
Because I wanted to take you up on that word discipline, because sometimes it looks like that's where the issue is. But first, you said public schools. This school concerned was a private school.
Private school.
And there have been many, many cases from private schools recently. So how is it able to happen in the first instance? Who oversees the private schools?
Ministry of Education does. But I want to tell you, it's not supposed to happen. It's just unfortunate that parents even pay their hard-earned money to get this. They are not supposed to beat any child. Beating is not a form of correction. It's not a form of instilled discipline. There are so many ways you can correct a child. There are so many ways you can discipline a child. When you say the word discipline, it depends on the angle you are using to look at it. You don't use cane to discipline. Ordinary high, you can use to correct. Those are the things we grow up to know. Ordinary scratching of leg, dragging your leg on the floor, your child will understand what you are trying. You must have gone through this, my sister.
As I'm sitting down, I'm thinking, I know what your children are thinking as you are sitting here.
Yes.
I know, yes.
Ordinary nodding of head, you are passing a message. It's a form of correction. And school should be somewhere a child is willing to go.
So this is the concept. The reality is what we are dealing with. This is what the law. So let me.
I'm not even talking about the law. I'm talking about what's supposed to be the reality.
But as we have seen, that's not the reality.
It's not supposed to happen in the first place.
So how did it happen?
That is where we need to check the mental status of our teachers. You understand? Some teachers are very aggressive because of what they are facing at home. Because of their marital issue, because of their own children that are giving them headaches. They just come to school and transfer the aggression on the innocent ones. I can't see anybody in his or her right senses caning a child of 2 years to that level. What for? Not even a slap. You understand? If you want to measure discipline, you even look at the age. You understand? When you go to our public school now, when you are just disturbing the class, what the teacher will tell you, according to the new Eco Excel training that Mr. Governor has introduced, is track me. When your pupil hear you say, track me, that means the teacher needs your attention. Eyes on me, they will reply, eyes on the teacher. You understand? Track my shoulder, that means look at me directly. If I ask you to track my shoulder now, you know where you'll be looking at. There's no how your attention will be on me. Those are the corrective measures. The worst you can do is to ask the child to stand up.
So,
not to the extent of even distracting the child or depriving the child of listening to the teacher while the class is going, go and sit down or go into the field and be sweeping or go into the sun. You don't do that again. Right. Not again.
Right. So I want to go to Mr. Oladeko. How is it that everybody seems to know what should be,
and you refuse to
but they don't do it? One, they don't report those they see doing it. Why?
Thank you. Not everybody understand. In our own public primary school, Lagos State, they don't do it because there are a lot of sensitization that we have given to them, continuous one, the implications. You see, when we are even talking about where do you report, how do you report, what is the reporting system, some parents that the children goes to private school don't know their rights. It doesn't cost money. It is nowhere to go. You don't even have issue discussing with them that there will be sentiments. You don't. You go right to the appropriate quarter. And when you report, they'll just tell you, give details. You are not in charge. You make the reports, and all this, come to my house, say sorry. You don't even have cause to take sorry for a child beating. The child has been abused, you want to take sorry. So it's not about sorry, because there has been awareness, publicity, and a lot of sensitization that you don't. Because when such thing happen by mistake, the person that do it will not be punished secretly. So others, we always look for a scapegoat. And once we find, there are procedures.
So you every time you talk, you speak specifically about public education. Yes. So you can't speak, what you're saying is you can't speak for private schools.
For private school, just like Honorable said, it's the same thing, because private are under Ministry of Education, private department. And the way anything that is done, the only thing different is that there are inspectors that move around private schools. When such happen, there should be a reporting system. So the parents should know their rights and know where to go.
Right. The other question I want to know, that this is specific to Lagos, though. Is that what you're saying? Does this, because at the end of the day, LASUBEB and all this other organization, this is the Lagos State's branch. We live in Nigeria. So ordinarily, it should be the case in other parts of Nigeria.
It should be the case everywhere under the sun. Children are not goats, they are not animals, and they are not criminals. You should treat them with love. Even if you want to correct, you correct in love. You don't scare people's children away from school. But I said it earlier, and I want to say it again. We need to check the mental status of these teachers we are talking about, both in private and public.
Is there a process already? For
public,
assessing
I would
teachers?
Say yes, for public. You don't just find yourself in the classroom. Number one, you must be academically qualified.
How do they access mental health of the
teachers?
Yes,
not that we request for mental certificates at the assumption of office, but when we begin to see traces, this is our LASUBEB counselor, the head of unit of guidance and counseling. And we have many issues. Not that we don't have issues in public school. We do, but we are easy they are easy to detect. They are easy to know, because we have counselors on ground in all our schools.
Right.
So when you notice that a teacher, at times it may be menopause on the side of the woman. So, but from time to time, we have counseling, we have training, we have sensitization. We have awareness program, courtesy of Mr. Governor, that we do from time to time to educate this teacher, to tell them to let them know what to do and what not to do. And when we see we have the report of this very teacher, it's like he or she is derailing, we invite them. We have counseling clinic. She is in charge. They question, they go deeper. So the private life of that very teacher. So at a point, we'll be able to discern that this teacher is not mentally stable. So at that point, we can decide. You don't take job from anybody. You are adding to the problem. We can decide to say, okay, don't stay in the classroom. Stay at the LGA where you will not be teaching, so that your mental status will be balanced. We put a lot of things in plan. This very Madam Joy that we are talking about, she needs to be examined. Forget about that's how she came. It should be Joy. Even before the name was mentioned, people already know that it's one Mrs. Joy. Who does that? Go and check her mental status. Go and check everything about her. To go deeper to even the family, because we transfer aggression a lot.
If, like it happened with Faustina, you got home and you saw your child in that, what does a parent do? So we even know the step-by-step process.
Yes.
What do you do? And it doesn't have to be a parent. It could be a guardian. It could be anyone who notices that sort of thing. Because a parent might not report, but a neighbor might notice. What do you do?
I wish all parents are observant. Even as small as Chioma or your daughter's name, Cherish. Some parents that commit their children into hand off may not even notice. But when such happen, immediately you take the child back to school. When you find out it is true, you go to Ministry of Youth and Social Development in Alausa. we call it NYZ. You go there straight. The head of the school social...
MYS, that's the Ministry of Youth and
Social Development. Mm-hmm. The head is, yes. Immediately you get there, you have different units. They tell somebody to go to the school and invite. So that is where they handle according to the level of the abuse. It's not about parents. Then whatever should be the care that should be given, they will refer the parents or the guardian to the appropriate quarter.
What kind of care, what sort of resources are available, one, to the parents, and what sort of procedural punitive measures are available for the school and the abuse perpetrator?
The abuse perpetrator will be taken care of. Some parents, when they make reports, they are fine. They don't need support. But when you open up that you need support, appropriate support will be given. We have clinic in Alausa. We have where they refer to. That is for Ministry of Youth and Social Development. Our case, if it is a school that I know about, immediately it is being reported, they take it up from there. The only thing is that the counselor from school make the reports to the headquarters. From the headquarters, we make report to MYZ, which we call Ministry of Youth and Social Development. And depending on the area in which the parents, some parents just want to report the perpetrator and can handle the care. But where do I go? What do I do? Okay, this is what assistance is being rendered. Just like even the case of the guardian himself, okay, we are talking about school. Okay, it's not about home. They can, since it's school, most of the time, because most challenge we have.
In Lagos State, is anybody supposed to beat children?
I said it earlier. No.
No, the right.
So this, because it's interesting, you say, no. I heard you say, that's why I'm bringing up now, that even if it was not school and somebody has abused a child, because it is abuse to flog children.
What I'm about to mention is that if it is in the home, we withdraw. But if it's in school, the parents, the school, the parents report and decide I can take care. But if it's at home, a neighbor reports, or because most of these things we discover in our school through a friend in the class or through a teacher, and they will bring it to the counselor and the head teacher. They will open up. Because some are so wicked, some will not even remember to withdraw the child from the school and even tell lies. God always catch them. They push the children to school. Immediately we discover the children will be withdrawn from not going home. And when you don't see a child at home, you want to, and that's where the physical, when the injury has been inflicted on the body. So it's not that we fear. I'm only saying when it happened in the school, the parents report, and immediately the parents may say, don't worry, we have family hospital. But where the parents say, I need help, help is being given.
What if it was a teacher that noticed that a child is being abused at home?
We have more of that cases.
We have more.
We don't so much have teacher to pupil in public school, for sure. You can investigate. Most of our cases from home. It's from home. From the parent, from the guardian, from the neighbor, from the siblings, from the caregiver.
That is what is common.
That is what is common in our own system. Right. And that is the illustration she has given, the steps we take. Even at times, for stigmatization's sake, we change the school of that victim.
After the case has been...
If it is a case of rape, you understand, after said and done, everything has been taken care of. We have to change the school.
I need this to be really clear.
Yes.
It means you speak now for Lagos. I know that the Child Rights Bill has been adopted by many states, except maybe 7 states. Yeah. There are still some 7 states.
I believe that's what should happen everywhere.
So let's start by what we know. But we know this is supposed to be national, with the exception of some states that have not adopted that bill yet.
They must.
I hear you, but I'm taking it stepwise because I don't think it has sunk in the public persona. And I can ask the audience now, because let me be clear. What you are saying is that in Lagos, as well as many states in Nigeria now, no one is supposed to beat children.
It's an abuse.
Who knew this? Did you all know this? People don't know. They don't know that in Lagos and many states, in fact, I repeat again, all over Nigeria, with the exception of some states that are still in contention, that hopefully will get there, no one, and I repeat, no one is allowed to beat children.
But if you want to talk from our own generation, the mentality is still there for some parents that children should be beaten.
Yes.
They don't have the awareness that government frown at it. Yeah. You don't cane, you don't beat your children. Don't say because I'm the mother, boss, anything available, but you don't do that. You don't inflict injury on any child. Right. If government gets to know, they will take it up.
This is very good. There should be now a lot more awareness, and we're starting here. It also means that there should be a lot more reporting going on. I thank you both for coming, because I will say to you that it didn't sink in even for me before.
We will continue to create awareness.
Yes.
We will continue to sensitize our people, the Parent Forum, the SBMC, everybody. They should know what to do.
I thank you very much for throwing light on it. I mean, we would actually do some investigation further and see, because this is because in the list of countries that have banned corporal punishments, for example, Nigeria is not listed yet. I think maybe because of those few states that have not done so. But globally, as at 1970, I think only 3 countries banned it. But as now, over 100 countries have joined them and have banned them. In fact, most of the countries that did not ban it include a country like America, where you have the school bombings and the school gun situations. So maybe we want to look at exactly what does discipline and what can discipline mean in schools.
And measures.
And measures, for both parents and the children. Thank you both very much for coming.
Thank you very much.
Faustina, you stay with us, because now we're going to get, the people who they look at it from the psyche of the human being. We have noticed that we don't engage our institutions at all on any level, local, state, or government. And at the end of the day, until we create another country, this is our country. Thank you very much.
Make it work.
And we have to make it work. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
We'll take a break. When we come back from the break, we will be talking with psychiatrists who will discuss with us exactly what the options are when it comes to raising a family, disciplining children, and organizing societies in the ways we wish it. On the set with me still is Faustina. Faustina's 2-year-old was brutally beaten by her teacher in her school. The school has been shut, and Faustina and her family are still dealing with that. Joining her now, I would like to introduce those who are going to be able to talk with us on a level of the human psyche and what should obtain. Sitting right beside her is Mrs. Ronke Adeniyi. Ms. Adeniyi is an expert in the area of child psychology. She's an educator, and she runs a foundation that talks about modern-day parenting. And also, sitting with her, I have a bias towards her because she went to UI and I went to UI, is Dr. Dada, Dr. Oluwapelumi Dada. She's a psychiatrist, and she's a senior registrar at the Federal Neuropsychiatric Hospital here in Yaba. Ladies, thank you for joining us. I noticed that when it comes to the matter of children, we always put the women forward. And as I said, I don't think that women have children on their own. Children are born by 2 people, as far as I know for now. So I will start with you, Dr. Dada. Why is it so?
Women tend to be more passionate about their children, but I must add that with more awareness and more enlightenment, men are getting more involved. We're seeing situations where fathers are showing up for their kids, where they're doing amazing things actually. So things are improving. But women tend to be very, very passionate about children.
Yeah. Because, that process of childbearing, But I do think that it's important to get more and more men putting their voice in and adding their own bit to it. But that would not be the conversation starter today. Earlier, before we had the second conversation, Faustina had gotten the point where she was talking about, basically the people concerned did not even seem to realize they'd done something wrong. Something else she said earlier, because I wanted her to take a break to compose herself, is that her little girl, Cherish, now seemed to react badly. Well, I won't say badly. She reacts now to the idea of being punished in the ways in it. I don't know, the consequence of that kind of thing is on a family, and what's available for Faustina is herself. So let me start with you, Ms. Adeniyi. What do you think we should do for little Cherish now?
Okay, just permit me to actually say that the reason why you have more women than men, the first question, is because women have allowed it. The dads that are involved actually do an amazing job significantly. And I've been working with parents for the last 15 years, and I see that where dads are involved, they do an amazing, amazing job, the ones that are involved. So we have permitted them. Now, when it comes to Cherish, I'm so sorry about what happened. I followed the story, I talked about the story, and she definitely needs therapy. What Cherish is going through is childhood trauma. They've been traumatized. The mother has been traumatized. They've seen the scars. They've seen what has happened. So it's stored up in her meme. There's somewhere in her memory that it's locked up in. So it has to be unlocked. So they need professional help. That's what that child needs, because the child can become 32, 34, become, a well-known speaker, maybe someone like you in the future. The child can be an astronaut, whatever, anything. What I'm trying to say is become someone great and significant in life. And then they will still have this thing at the back of their mind, this trauma, this fear. She might not even remember it categorically. She might need some hypnosis to unlock it. It might be something that will be affecting one part of her life. It might be her relationships. It might be her relationship with her children. We don't know what is hidden. We don't know how much it has affected the child, but it has affected the child. Even the mother. It has affected the mother because she saw her child that she birthed. She saw her child. So they both need to go through healing. I don't know what the brothers, the sisters, dad, I don't know what they've seen. I don't know how they've reacted to it. But they should at least speak to a counselor at the very minimum. But the rest of the family, definitely. Cherish and mom, because they were in the middle. They are in the middle of it. They need it.
Right. It was interesting to hear that reaction. That's why I asked her that question, how Cherish is doing, because we seem to think, in Nigeria, we boast about having been beaten. I've seen many online conversations when it comes up. People boast that I wouldn't be the person I am today if I hadn't been beaten. People assume that they themselves are the best they could have been. That sort of thing. I mean, all of us do. I try not to anymore, knowing that I could be better every day. So I wanted to ask you, Dr. Dada, that, what does that sort of, and we must call it what it is, abuse, that sort of beating, what does it do to a person? And what would you say to people who have concern about disciplining children? They are thinking that if they don't beat their children, then the children will become wayward. To start with, what does that do to a person?
Okay, thank you for the question. Apologies to Cherish's mom, the entire family. I sincerely sympathize with you. I'm sorry for everything you've been through in the past couple of months. It must have been very tough for the entire family. I'll prefer to speak generally as regards abuse, particularly since this case is in court. So, physical abuse, let's call it physical abuse, is one of the forms of abuses that could be seen in children. Physical abuse forms, particularly in children, things that we call adverse childhood experiences. Now, these experiences that happen in the formative years of the children could lead to certain sequelae in the life of those children. Now, it's not a all or none rule, but there are things we call predisposing factors. Predisposing means that things that would make somebody more likely to have certain things. It's not a general 100%, so it doesn't mean that everybody that goes through child abuse, these are the things that will happen. But the things that science has been able to pick out that could be sequelae to these experiences include mental illnesses, various types, mood disorders. You could see a child that was already potty trained, already going to the toilet his or herself, and the child starts to pee on himself, defecate on himself. We call those things regression. So the child there could be certain, I don't want to use setbacks, there could be loss of milestones, of developmental milestones in those children. It could predispose the child to psychotic illnesses, conduct disorders. Those children could even in turn be abusers themselves. You know, statistics say that 1 in 3 abusers would later on abuse people. But thankfully, there are interventions that can be put in place to prevent these things from happening.
So regarding her, for example, because obviously she needs some sort of support to go through this process.
The environment where she lives, I don't know if they own the house or they're renting the house, but they need to exit that environment because it's toxic to her, it's toxic to her children. And there's an anchor there she would forever remember. You know, even when they register in another school in the nearby environment, they will say, is that family that X, Y, and Z? And that is like, I can't really pretend and say, oh, everybody's going to be nice to you. They're not going to be nice to you. But I need you to understand that you are making a difference in the country. You are paving the way for many, many children and many, many parents. You are giving them a voice to come up and speak. Do you know how many people have spoken after your case? If you check my Instagram, you will see that I spoke about your case. And many, many people have spoken about your case. You have given many people a voice. So don't let them, and stop saying you are little, because you are not little. Stop saying my age is this, or
fine girl like
need
you.
To stop.
You are beautiful.
That is her own
you are a good
opinion.
Mother. You are smart.
That is her own opinion, and she's entitled to it, but it's not your own reality. It doesn't matter. Please, can you stop saying it? But what you need to do is that, you see this whole thing that is happening. I'm a businesswoman also, yeah? There's so many things you can do. You also need a strong person by your side. I don't want to be saying all those sort of things on TV, but this is something that once you get your healing, you can also monetize it because you can help people through this thing that has happened. It's happening everywhere. Even in a school now, in my box now, there's a lady that told me that they beat her child and they shaved the hair. The boy, yeah, her son. What should she do? It's people like you that are making people come to people like us and are saying it, that what should we do? These schools, they feel powerless. The parents feel powerless against some of these schools. And we need to understand that there should be a collaboration between the parents and the school, not war. There should be because we are both in the best interest of the child. So ideally, we should be working in synergy. But you find that in many Nigerian schools, it's like a fight.
Are there resources in your institution that people can come to? How do they access it?
Okay. So we have a child and adolescent institution, which is in Oshodi actually, not Yaba. So it's an old building for children, dedicated for children and adolescents. And they receive all the specialists they need are actually in that facility. The psychiatrist, the psychologist, the occupational therapist, the speech therapist, if adventure they need one. Everybody, the social worker, everybody comes to play in that particular facility. So the major thing is just to present there. You'll be assessed. When you're assessed, you have to open a folder. Then the doctor will see. Every patient that is seen in that facility, everything is kept strictly confidential. Nobody is going to, even as doctors or as clinicians, you are under an oath not to divulge details of your clients. So everybody is under that particular oath. So everything you say will be confidential.
How much does it cost?
I'm not sure the specifics for the children. I think the adults is about 5,000 too, but it's less for children to open a folder.
Right.
Yes.
So basically, the cost is not as high as many may fear.
No, it's not.
It's not as high because I know
it's affordable.
Because I know it's a federal institution, and so the cost generally is not as, because there are all kinds of people watching. Some, there are children watching there who might, get somebody who can help them.
Yes.
Some people could just go. You can just actually go to Oshodi.
Yes, you can.
Just like you can go to Yaba left. Because there's so much, I find there's so much resources. It's not perfect. And it's going to be left to all of you and all of us to make it better. However, use it first. And for me, I like for people to come to me that I went there and this is what they said. Than for me to say, I do not even know. I do not. No. As you said, this culture of helplessness, which also translates into politics. You ask people, okay, who should be there? Shebi is them. We don't know. You don't know. Which day you want to know? Do you know that sort of thing? That's part of what we're trying to work on here. I just wanted to encourage you, start with Faustina, that you should hold heart. You know, hold heart for your daughter, hold heart for your other children too. And you know, you kept talking about Maza Maza, and I told you off the stage, I said I know Maza Maza well because I grew up around there. And this is me today. Your daughter, you called her Cherish for a reason. Cherish can become anybody she wants to be tomorrow, regardless of this. Your son, Emma, can become anything. And your other two daughters, I don't know their name because you haven't given me. And Mama, that's what they call you. Your children can become anybody tomorrow, anybody big. Don't let anybody shake you. Person where they here today, you know, go there tomorrow. Okay? So on our part, we'll do the best that we can to help you. Thank you for coming. Ladies, thank you very much. All right, well, we have an audience in the studio. And who wants to go first?
Okay, my question goes this way. From the way she talks, you can see that she's very emotional. And besides, from the story, everybody, the victim and everybody are living in the same neighborhood. And now she's been stigmatized with the children. So is there any form of protection? One thing is for the case to be at the court, and now she's still in that same neighborhood. And who knows, apart from the stigma, the talking and every other thing, we don't know other planks, the things these people might do to them, because that's where they buy what they eat, fetch water, school, every of their livelihood. In fact, it's their home. So I think there should be a kind of protection. Or I don't think if they have the funds or what it takes to move out from that neighborhood, but at least a protection, apart from the stigma, any physical attack in any form. So if there's something that can be done to make sure they're being protected physically, mentally, and emotionally.
Okay, I want to use myself as an example. When I was in secondary school, I was almost stripped naked by a teacher. Just my boxers remaining. If it happens this time around, is there anything that can be done when we don't have pictures as evidence? That's my question.
Okay, so my question goes like this. Concerning corporal punishments or, way of training a child. Actually, the question is, how does a parent, instead of beating, what other methods are there, in place for a parent to actually, correct a child? For example, if I'm home now and I see my neighbor beating his child or her child, how do I tell him, okay, please just stop this, just do this, and the child will change? So what are those alternatives, for corporal punishment?
Okay, what does a child do in that circumstance?
The child still needs to speak up, irrespective of evidence or no evidence. Keeping quiet breeds these monsters. So you need to speak up.
When you notice something is odd, different, you need to speak up, ask questions, be inquisitive. Okay, what is going on here? So we all have a role to play in this.
Yes. Thank you very much. There was a third question. What can a parent do other than beat a child if they want to correct their child? I mean, I wouldn't take the word discipline out. Correct is different.
You see, like I said, I wrote a book on this particular topic, 101 strategies, so I can go on forever. Now, when people have children, they just have children and start raising them. They need training. That's where it starts from. When they are doing marriage counseling, they should be doing parenting classes and understanding that there's a difference between that correction you talked about with discipline and also punishments. Because they will tell you, spare the rod, they will quote scripture and everything. They forget that it's a rod of correction, a rod of love. My rod and thy staff, they comfort, not strike.
So from picking up from where she stopped, you highlighted some risk factors for abuse. The most striking here is children less than 3. We noticed that babies and children less than 3 particularly, are more prone to be abused. Why? They are children. They would act out. They will sit where they're not supposed to sit. They will run around in circles. Also, children with illnesses, you see that parents are frustrated. This child has been ill for a long time. And then you just notice that the woman is transferring aggression to this other person. Also, children with intellectual disability. This one is very dear to my heart, because these children, they don't know what they are doing, but the carer is frustrated. So what are the things we can do? There are things that are called token economy, which can be applied. So, for example, you get two boxes of cheese balls normally. Now you do the right things. I say, okay, today you are doing beautifully well. When you do this, I give you 2 cheese balls. If you don't do this, I'm not giving you your cheese balls. Note that the cheese balls is not the child's food. You don't want to deprive the child of the expected, necessary, or basic amenities. I'm not saying you should deprive the child of the breakfast, lunch, or dinner. You're not depriving of basic necessities. These are incentives. That's the proper word to use. Incentives. You could use a star chart. Oh, you behave properly today, I give you a sticker chart. You'll be surprised at how these things work. So you put a sticker on the wall. Oh, my girl is doing so well today. I put a sticker on the wall today. She's beautiful. You get colorful stickers. Put this there. Then you could also trade. You could trade things, in quotes. I'm not saying give them money, but you could have tokens.
So sort of like reward and punishment.
Exactly, that's the word.
Which is what happens to us too. As there's actually reward and consequences. Not punishment, consequences. Think about if it was me, what would I do? If I made a mistake now, what would the consequences be? I can just say thank you to everybody who's here today. And I wish everybody well. And hope that we get the nation that we deserve and one that we dream of. Thank you, everyone.